Hello and welcome to AF Anime. I am John, back with another One Piece related video, this time discussing the importance and the relevance of the recent breaks that we've been getting. It almost seems like One Piece has been a bi-weekly manga since early December, or to be more specific, the last 2 weeks that we had One Piece chapter releases in a row were November 28th and December 5th respectively. Now, for someone like me who is a relatively new YouTuber who only really covers two different mangas in the form of One Piece and its weekly releases alongside Dragon Ball and its monthly releases. And this has actually had a decent effect on my ability to drop weekly content, especially when it comes to One Piece, but it also is pushing me to some extent to make more videos like this, where I'm just having a discussion more so than specifically reviewing a released piece of media. So with that being said, I actually am more than okay with these breaks, and I do think there are two different trains of thought as to why these breaks are occurring so frequently within the past 2 months. And the first reason I can think of is the overstretching holidays and New Year season. Now, when it comes to Japan, they have their own different sets of holidays, but for the most part, they do celebrate Christmas and they do celebrate the New Year in regards to the Gregorian calendar, as well as some places like in the region of Okinawa, they also still celebrate the Lunar New Year. So with that being said, you have to kind of assume that both professionally and personally they have been busy with many things and can't just really afford to focus on the manga, or at least give it the proper attention over the holiday season. Plus, as we know, when it comes to the mangaka and how hard they work, they do need their breaks. They're very deserving of having some time off and some time to relax and not have to focus on keeping us entertained on a weekly basis. And when it comes to One Piece, especially within the One Piece fandom, I think a lot of us have actually come to understand that these breaks are necessary, and we actually do want our mangaka to stay healthy so that way he can put out new content, new material, and not put us in the ways of those Hunter x Hunter fans who have to wait months if not years in between chapters. And don't get me wrong, I am a Hunter x Hunter fan and I have been caught up to the manga for the most part, but I have just stopped checking up, and I just kind of hope to be surprised with a few chapters here and there once a year or so. But when it comes to One Piece, it's been a lot more consistent. We're getting at least 2 to 3 chapters a month for the most part, and when breaks occur, we typically know the reason and we typically understand and are willing to wait it out without much complaint or much issue. So in regards to most of the One Piece YouTubers who I am subscribed to, it seems like most of them are very understanding and very patient when it comes to getting these chapters out, because we've come to expect a good quality when it comes to Oda, and this is despite the fact that this manga's been running for over 20 years now. So that's pretty much going to be my headcanon as to the personal and professional reasons for the breaks, but I do have another train of thought on why we are getting so many breaks, especially at this point in Wano where we're starting to gear up toward the end. And that is because Wano so far has not yet lived up to the hype that Oda and his editors had actually promised. Now, don't get me wrong, I'm not saying that Wano is a bad arc or has been a bad story. It's been very entertaining. We've already had this as our longest manga arc so far, going from chapter 909 all the way up until now. That's nearly 130 or so chapters of very entertaining content. However, I do want to say that Oda and his editors did hype this up as having some major overlying arc in the story, or some very important storylines that are relevant to the overall ending and story of One Piece tied into the Wano arc, which I do think the pieces are set up. It's just I don't quite think that it's being executed well so far. I mean, we have the world government sitting outside of Wano. We also have a few mysteries tied up into the Wano arc, as well as the potential end of the Yonko saga with the defeat of Big Mom and Kaido tied into the story. However, I don't really see it being cohesively and entertainingly wrapped up in a smooth narrative within the next 100 chapters or so. I mean, not unless they take some serious time and some serious breaks to work out the story and to write a more fluent storyline to end this arc. I mean, I don't want to say that Oda has bitten off more than he can chew in terms of making Wano the most relevant or the most important or the most entertaining arc. I think it's still possible, but there's a lot of thought that needs to be dedicated to this arc's ending when it comes to moving in towards the end of One Piece. And I feel like after Wano, that is exactly where we're going to be headed. I mean, we had that quote not too long ago about One Piece lasting for about another 5 years or so, but I do think that once Wano Wano is done, we are going to be gearing up for the end. The world government is getting involved. They're getting more anxious. We just had the Reverie. There's so many things that are culminating with the defeat of Big Mom and Kaido that it can only lead towards in-game type content. And if the end game is where Wano is going to take us, which it really kind of seems like, Oda's going to need a little more time to iron things out and to make this plot a little more cohesive and a little more hype, at the very least, if he wants to outdo the emotional investment that went into Marineford. Now, I can't predict where Oda is going to go with the end of Wano and the story when it comes to Kaido, Big Mom, and how they will influence the One Piece world when Luffy eventually does succeed in removing them from their influence within the world of Wano. However, I can say that with the events of Reverie, some of the mysteries that have been set up in regards to Joy Boy, the Sun God Nika, the possible deaths or imprisonments that may have occurred in Revelry, I do think that it is all there. It just needs to be cohesively tied up, and I don't see that happening within anything less than another 100 chapters or so, unless Oda and his writing team take their sweet old time condensing a lot of information and a lot of emotional investment into these upcoming chapters. I mean, when it comes to Wano, we've had a sufficient amount of action so far, and then we still have the fights with Big Mom and Kaido to be concluded. So now I think it is time for Oda to really sit back and actually plan out the events that are going to occur here very soon. I mean, we have the whole concept of Zunisha and that mystery. We have all the other mysteries to be tied into the story. It's not to say that they need to be addressed before Wano ends. However, I think the ending of Wano does need to lead in to the overall end game of One Piece. So there you have it. Those are my thoughts on the very inconsistent schedule that we've had with One Piece since early December. And to sum that up quickly, the two reasons being the holiday season and the stress that comes along with the mangaka and the professionals involved with the One Piece story, as well as the ever approaching end of Wano. If Oda and his team are going to live up to the promised hype of this arc, then they're going to need a little more time and energy and effort to think out the end of this arc. The action, for the most part, has done its job. Now it's time to work this story to be something that hits as hard as Marineford as promised. So let me know your thoughts down below if you think that the breaks are warranted or not. Also, let me know what you think about the impending end of Wano and its importance to the One Piece story overall. I'm John from AF Anime. If you guys enjoyed this content and want to see more One Piece related videos, please like, share, and subscribe. I will see you guys in the next one.